Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Networking the No Rules Way with author Christy Smallwood. I am your host, Sabrina Watson, founder of NetworkLiveVirtually.com, where we let you network live virtually with the world. So feel free to go check out all of our meetings each week. They are free to join, and hopefully we will get a chance to network with you. And today, and every day, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, I am with author Christy Smallwood, and we're going to teach you how to network the No Rules Way. And that is the title of her book. Good morning, Christy.
Good morning. And you know what? Now that you've mentioned that, I need to go find that link like we usually
do. And she's going to go find her link because she's so kind as to share her book with us. And so that you can read it on Google Docs. And hi, Tony. Hi, Tony. I'm so glad Tony's here. I just saw Tony Nelson in another meeting like just a few minutes ago. Nice. I'm so excited. Hello, Tony. I'm going to be reaching out to her for some things. We've got an open seat, Tony. If you would like to hop in and join us on Blab, we would love to have you. Today, we're going to actually be talking about who we associate with, mentors, virtual board of directors, random people, and how it affects us.
Yes.
Okay. Christy's put her link in the chat for you guys so you can read her book. And take it away, Miss Christy.
So there is a chapter in the book that I've titled Learning Never Stops. And really it boils down to what are we learning from other people? And there's such a whole universe of things that we can still learn. We don't know everything. And if we can enter into any situation, any conversation with the spirit of a student, curious student, that I've got something that I could be learning from you, that I don't know everything, then we can better ourselves every single time we go out. Now, the reverse is also true, that if we're hanging out, it's the universal principle, you are who you associate with. So choose your people wisely. Whenever you're associating with those people who invite drama into their lives, do you really want to hang out with that? Because that is going to bleed over into other things. You're going to bring that drama with you wherever you go, whether you realize it or not. So this concept of learning never ends then leads into how do we do that intentionally? So if we're out and we want to develop and we have the spirit of a curious student where we can always learn something new, who do we want to learn from? What are some things that we want to learn? In what areas? If it's in our own industry or a hobby, it could be anything. Because I have an interest in history. I want to be able to learn from history. Those people that have been there, done that, I want to learn from them in their specific areas. And so I will gravitate towards those historical figures that have been amazing. Like, here, because I wanted to make sure I had some visuals today.
Yay, visuals.
Yeah. Queen Elizabeth. This lady, I swear, she pulled it off perfectly. I've got like 5 books on Queen Elizabeth I because I really want to study her as a person, how she thought, how she acted in certain situations. She's in a massive leadership role, high political stuff. It's no different than today. If you're a leader of your organization, your business, your group, you still have that on a smaller scale. People are people no matter what the age or time frame or situation. People are people are people. This stuff's not going to change. So if I can learn how to be a certain type of person in a situation, I want to learn from the best. I go out and I find the best, those that I think they're the best, and I learn from them. So we talk about having mentors. And mentors are extremely important. I know this because I did not have one. So I know the difference between having one and not having one. And not having one, there's way too much time that passes with floundering, trying to figure stuff out all by yourself. And there's no need for that because there's plenty of opportunities, plenty of people out there that are amazing to learn from. And so it goes back to some of these other conversations we've had, how to make those connections, how to even have that conversation. Because if we're out networking, yes, we want to grow our business, but sometimes we have issues, and we would love to be able to have a sounding board, somebody that can, walk us through things that we've not been through before. So just like tonight, I'm going to be doing the live virtual networking, and I'm still getting the hang of things. Charlene, my guest, is a seasoned pro. So it's smart of me to have the seasoned pro on the show to kind of keep me from wigging out and make sure things are moving forward, and, learn from her what to do in these situations.
Well, Charlene is a seasoned pro, and the thing is about virtual networking is it's such a new concept that we have brought to market, all of us. And there are so many people that just really haven't got a clue what it is, that I think they're afraid to show up. Then there also seems to be that fear of being on video. That seems to be a big deal these days, is the fear of being on video. And I'm not exactly sure what that is. The only thing that I always try to tell people, and this is just a little tip for being on video, but then we're going to get back to what you're talking about, Christy, is if your profile pic is from you when you were 23 years old, you should probably change that before you're on video, right?
Yes.
So, and as you were saying today, we're talking about your associations, and
I will say it's kind of funny because I got to join Charlene's Blab this morning. She has that morning mindset, and pulling her stuff up. You see all these other shows that are going on, and you see the profile pics. I'm like, yeah,
that's not who they are. Yeah, isn't that so funny? So, and I wanted to ask you the question, because we're talking this morning about who we associate with. How do you feel about that on social media? Does that apply to social media?
Oh, yeah. But here's the thing about social media that I've found. I'll give you my example. This is why I say yes, because I've got enough people that I'm connected with through my Executive Women International group. So we're a national organization. I've got ladies from all over the place, Seattle, Spokane. Okay. So I've got some ladies in Spokane that I have Facebook friended, and we communicate on Facebook. Great. But I've gotten somebody else that's a mutual friend over here that has seen this person show up that I've friended in Spokane. And so he has decided to friend her. He does not know her. And so she'll contact me saying, who is this person? Because you are our only mutual friend. So it does happen. Now, does it happen on a massive scale? Maybe not, because there's that back to are you gathering an audience or are you building a network? Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of a difference there. He's gathering an audience, not building the network. And because she had that connection with me, she's going to check to see what sort of person this guy is, whether she wants to accept that friend request or not. So it does happen that they check what that association is.
And that recently happened to me, actually. Somebody hit me up and said, who is this person? They're trying to friend me, and they're a friend of yours on Facebook. And I said, don't pick your friends based on me. I said, because one of the things that I am to a degree doing, which most of us solopreneurs in business are doing, is to a degree we are using our social media networks to gather an audience, as you said. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really important that you take a moment to figure out who it is you're friending. Of course, there are those people out there that just like randomly friend everybody.
Yes. And then that falls on, because it's a marketing tool. Make no mistake, social media is a marketing tool. But now we're getting to that place. We're seeing this shift of, okay, it's not just marketing. Now, how do we have real relationships? Bye, Tony.
Bye, Tony.
Yeah. We're trying to have real relationships through social media. And that's the advent of Blab and the attempt with Periscope. And I say attempt because it's the one way. I'm showing you my life and you can type in at the bottom kind of thing, which is great. So Blab is amazing. Then you have all these video conferencing opportunities with Zoom or Skype or whatever. And it's just becoming this exponential way of how can we actually develop relationships? How can we connect as real human beings and not just another name on a screen? Because it's not that way. We're not feeling like we're transactions. We're feeling like real people.
So when we talk about those mentors and those connections, something that I want to talk about, a subject I want to bring up is, in my particular case, in my particular county, we have a county commissioner who is very controversial. So what about those controversial people? I mean, I think that one of the things that I think a lot of people hang out with this person because he is controversial and gets attention, not because they agree with his political positions. Now, having said that, aligning yourself with this person when others don't agree with this highly visible, controversial political person is definitely going to affect you, don't you think?
Yes, very much so, because perception is reality. Mm-hmm. And again, I look at the world through lenses of marketing. Perception is reality. My perception is my reality. Your perception is your reality. What the goal for marketing is to get everybody to see things the same way. But if left to my own devices, I'm going to see things through my lens. So if I see that person associated with a controversial person, then my assumption that gets made on a natural basis, don't even have to try, because we all naturally will come up with ideas in our head as to what the reality is over there. So my natural assumption is they're just like that person. If, that birds of a feather flock together, there's nothing wrong with that concept, but you have to be careful if you want to be thought
one of that flock.
One of that flock or not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You brought up the pigeon thing. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Do you want to be part of that flock? Do you want to be part of that tribe of people who think a certain way, act a certain way? There's a lot of controversial things out there nowadays. Do you, depending on what you say and how you say it, put you in the camp of them or, us or them kind of thing?
So let's talk about that controversial, what you say kind of thing and what you put out there. Because I just was chastised recently for one of my blog posts. And that I talk about the pigeon syndrome, people that are at a networking event that fly by, drop their shit, as I call it, which would be their business cards and what they do, and buy me, and then they continue to fly away. So I had written a blog post about that, and I used the word shit in there. And I was told that that I needed to, as a professional person, clean up my language and not use the word shit. And I said, that I was trying to make a very important point by using the word shit. And so let's talk about that for a minute. What do you think about me using a blog post with the word shit in it? Screw it. Let's do it. Right?
There are plenty of very well-known entrepreneurs out there, successful multimillionaire entrepreneurs who don't give a shit about their language. Okay.
Well, and I said to this person, I recently had a guest on my show that is an attorney, and a very good attorney out of Arizona, and she used some pretty dynamic words of her own. And, I was told, well, just because she uses them doesn't mean you should use them. But I think that part of the 21st century way of networking is getting to know people and who you really are. Is that not true?
Yes. I mean, I cuss. Make no mistake. I cuss. But typically if I cuss, it's one of two things. Either I'm telling a really funny story or I'm really pissed off. There's really kind of no in between. It's for emphasis only, or really pissed and just stay out of my way. That's, and there's, yeah. But Gary Vaynerchuk,
yeah. I just watched his Monday morning video yesterday, actually. Right. It was kind of funny.
He doesn't hold anything back, because people like that, and I'm not going to say just guys, people like that don't have time to be something you think they should around. Be. Right. We ain't got time for that. I've got clients who, she's like, I'm not any less intelligent because I say the F word.
Right.
She's like, it just comes out. It feels good to say it. I'm going to say it. Like, you go right ahead with your bad self. because you know, right? You know, though, whenever you're dealing with that particular business, those ladies don't hold back. They're very serious, very straightforward, and a ton of fun while you're at it. You know what you're getting with that. I think that the cussing aspect of things, it depends on the environment. You know, yeah, there's certain protocols in certain environments. But if you're posting a blog, that's yours. That's your personality, that's your voice. Use whatever words you want to use. And if
Well,
somebody
I was told it sounded like a rant.
what?
But the particular event was a rant. It was a rant on the particular event and on a pigeon. I went to an event that was not billed as a networking event. It was billed as a, business building, business learning, business gathering, business group, business association thing event, but it's not billed as a networking event. And of course I wasn't in that door 3 minutes when I had the pigeon fly in.
Of course.
At an event where he knows better than to do this. So, so the pigeon flew in. Good morning, Steve. So the pigeon flew in. And so my blog post was written about my conversation with the pigeon, who did a flyby, dropped his shit, assured me, and I got to tell you a little bit about this just because I think you're going to find it amusing, not to get off topic, because I do want to get us back on topic, but he proceeded to ask me what I did, and then immediately switched the conversation to what he did and how wonderful what he did was, and how I needed them and how I should belong to their group. However, I would have to apply and convince people how much, I needed to be there. And no amount of I am not interested swayed him. So, he dropped his shit and flew away and assured me that we would be connecting. Well, I haven't heard from him. So there you go.
Of course. Right. And you have every right to be able to, because what you do with live virtual networking and the blabs, with what you do, you have every right to be able to rant about that, because we are trying to make the world better when it comes to networking. This is something do not do. And I cannot emphasize to you heavily enough, don't do this. And if it takes harsh language to get people to understand, don't just drop your shit. They understand.
There we go. So now we're going to proclaim it to the world, right? Christy, you and I, don't drop your shit. That's fly by.
Because, for people reading that, they might, sure, some people are going to get offended and make an assumption that you're unprofessional about it. Who gives a rip? Because you know what? They're probably the ones who are dropping their shit. If they're getting offended by the language instead of finding it humorous because they've had that experience, then they are the shit droppers. Usually. Not every time, but usually. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. And see, this kind of conversation here, this is something that, in our associations, if we have a team of people that we can go to say, okay, I had this happen, what do you think? Then it builds us. We've learned from that. And now, some people maybe, who knows what you're going to come up with next, Sabrina, but I'm sure it's just a little bit more empowering. Just go off on that tangent if you want to.
Well, I got to tell you, every one of these blabs gives me, post material as well as tangents to get started on. And hey, Steve, we've got an open seat. Feel free to come on in. You just missed Tony Nelson. She was here. I'm a huge fan of Tony Nelson's, by the way. She's got a super cool networking course. That she was actually on our virtual networking this morning and gave us a screaming deal on. And she said I could share that link. So for those of you that are interested in networking, this link is only good for, I think she said, Steve says he's stuck working in the background. I think she said this link was only going to be good for about 48 hours, but I will put it in there for anybody who would like to do it. It's about a 50% discount on Tony Nelson's course. That is not an affiliate link. It's just, I saw her at an event this morning and this is the link that she provided. So, and we're going to, having said that, we're going to have a course here pretty soon. Christy Smallwood is going to come out with a boot camp, right?
Yep.
Soon we're going to have a 4-week boot camp with Christy Smallwood, and that will be training and live time with her. So, we'll let you guys know when that announcement happens. It is not yet So, and I just want to remind everybody that we are networking the No Rules Way with author Christy Smallwood every Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time, right here on Blab. So please take a moment to tell a little bird, tell your friends, invite some folks in to join us. We want to hear what you have to say about networking. So, and our topic today, Christy, again, just to bring us back to our topic, is who we associate with: mentors, virtual boards of directors, random people, and how it affects us.
Mm-hmm.
So, what about random people? That's kind of a random thought.
Random people. Because random people are the unknown variables. If we don't know them or we don't know about them, how do we get to know them quickly to know if we want to be associated with them?
So somebody who's in business and runs around telling people about their, openly telling people about their mental history, for example.
Okay.
That would be random, right?
Yes. Or this has happened as well. I really don't care about last night's exploits.
Oh, last night's exploits. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so do people actually do that at networking events? They share their last night's exploits. Have you actually ever seen that happen?
Yes, I've had that.
No, you have.
Yes. Because I appreciate that people think I'm such.
Steve says, really, but I had such fun.
I appreciate that people think I'm such a, open to listening to everything they want to tell me. Then they tell me their life story. It just happens to me. It's just the person I am. People will tell me a lot of things I don't need to know. And there's been a couple of ladies, younger, mind you, younger. Well, I can't say just younger. I've had one that was in her 40s, one that was in her 20s, and they both, different events, both proceeded to tell me about last night.
So were they telling you about last night in the company of others or just yourself? Were you a confidant at that moment?
One was in the company of a couple others and one was by myself. I was like, oh, well, glad you had a good time. Sounds like you had a lot of fun.
I'm going to get your link here, Christy, because I want to share with everybody that on Wednesday nights, 8 p.m., Christy Smallwood does run a live virtual networking group as well, where you can meet her in person and others and learn a little something too. I have a link here for you, but we don't have anything in here for, there's nothing in your event page, by the way. Did you send something in?
I thought I did. Maybe I've just been promoting it.
Okay. Well, you might want to get something in like right away so we can get that on there. So there is an event link if you would like to join Christy's live virtual networking group. Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We use Zoom as our platform. Very simple app. You just click on the link. It downloads a little app and you are in the room live with video and audio. So feel free to come join us this evening if you would like to learn a little bit about networking. And if you would like to network with others, we're going to help you grow your base of people that you know, either locally, nationally, or internationally, and help you grow your business that way as well. Isn't that right, Christy?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So back to I'm sorry, I keep pulling us away here. Back to our subject of who you associate with.
So do you have a mentor?
Do I have a mentor? No, I do not.
Have you ever had a mentor?
I have never had a mentor. I have a mentor.
So that's interesting. You work with SCORE.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding of SCORE is they are like mentors for new businesses.
They are. That's correct. So I mentor others.
Yes. So what do you do when you need advice or you need your own sounding board?
Steve says, I've had various mentors throughout life, but never a business mentor, perhaps in 6 months. I think that means he is thinking about hiring one. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I've had mentors by virtue of the fact that they were close people that I looked up to, but I've never actually had a business mentor who said, this is what you need to do, or, take this step or plan this out, or no, I've never had any of that.
So what I've done, because I've been in that same situation my entire life, I've never had somebody that just came along and said, hey, I want to help you grow, and I'll show you the way kind of thing. Didn't have that. But I am a learner. I did learn from my great grandma that you should never stop learning, which was fantastic. At 98, she was still learning new stuff. And but she was funny. She did tell us at age 95, she just did not have time to surf the web.
All righty then.
Oh yeah, she's like, I don't need to do that. So one of the things that I did is I kind of developed a virtual board of directors. So I may not have mentors that I can talk to back and forth, but I can certainly pretend they're talking to me. So
what do you mean? Explain that. What's a virtual board of directors?
A virtual board of directors, if I was in a room, and this is not a new concept, Napoleon Hill has this concept. Mm-hmm. He talks a lot about masterminds, but he also has another book called Outwitting the Devil. And he goes into more of a spiritual aspect of things. It's an extension of the Think and Grow Rich. But he talks about having that virtual board of directors that you can, whenever you're meditating or doing centering exercises or something, part of that meditation is, if you were in a room with these people that you wanted to be mentored by, actually walking through what a conversation would look like with them. So one of his mentors was Abraham Lincoln, and then Henry Ford and Carnegie. So these guys, some of them were still alive, some of them had passed, but he would mentally put them into a room together and ask questions, and he would just kind of walk through what they would say to him in their own way. So for example,
wow.
Right.
That's some kind of deep stuff.
Yes. So, Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. It's almost, remember the what would Jesus do kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's take it one step forward and actually have a conversation with people in the room. I have Captain America. I'm a big superhero person, if we haven't figured this out by now. So I have, right? I have some of these characters. Queen Elizabeth I is one of them. Napoleon Hill, Richard Branson, who's still alive. I would love to meet this person, by the way. Would love, love, love to have a real conversation with him. Jeffrey Gitomer, sales coach, sales trainer. And this guy, not the sumo wrestler, but the guy that wrote the book. Where is his picture? This one right here. John who? John Spoelstra, Spoelstra. I'll write that in there, because this guy, if you want some marketing tips, Spoelstra, John Spoelstra. This is a really fantastic book, and it's called Marketing Outrageously. He's a sports marketer. And so what I was able to do is take this kind of stuff and go, okay, how do I think differently about what I'm doing? Yes, there's a pathway of marketing, and there's traditional aspects of marketing, but how can I do it different? How can I take what I'm doing on a $0 budget, right? I might have $10 to apply to something, but how can I do it differently so that $10 feels like $1,000? So just by applying the concept of this that I've learned from this guy, it's made a huge difference in how I'm doing things. Just like I'm now starting to learn this, because this is a lot about strategy and relationship.
The art of what? I can't quite see it.
The art of war. This is ancient philosophy. I mean, this was back in 200 BC kind of thing. And so wow. It is a very quotable book, Steve. I love it. Love, love, love it. But I have a massive bookshelf. But my virtual board of directors also includes Leroy Jethro Gibbs from NCIS.
I love Leroy Jethro Gibbs from NCIS. Right? It's too bad he's not a real person.
But that show has been on so much. You know that character so well. If you're mentally sitting in a room with him, you know what he's going to say. First of all, the code that he lives by. Go with your gut. That's one of the biggest things I learned by using him in my virtual board of directors at the beginning of 2015 was go with your gut. And that's the thing that I keep hearing, literally Mark Harmon's voice in my head when I get in those situations. Go with your gut. It's my gut. My gut's telling me. So I use that. I use that a lot. When I don't have anybody that I can just immediately pick up the phone and say, what do you think about this? I have a best friend, but she's not been through these business things like other people have been. And I don't have a set mentorship yet. I'm still kind of waiting for that good fit for me.
Mm-hmm.
Take somebody that can really kick my butt to keep me on track.
Well, that's what a mentor does, right? They kick your butt and keep you on track.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's that concept of the virtual board of directors. You can pick who you want on there, but know that either the character so well or that person, study them well enough that you could hear their voice, you could see their mannerisms, that kind of thing. The Daniel Day-Lewis, is that who played Abraham Lincoln in Lincoln, the movie?
I think so, yes.
He was amazing. So if you watch that movie and Abraham Lincoln is going to be one of your mentors, picture that guy talking and his mannerisms when you're consulting your board of directors. Find somebody that you can picture their mannerisms and somewhat hear their voice in your head, because you know what they would say if in this situation.
My virtual board of directors.
Mm-hmm. John Wayne's been on my virtual board of directors. Mm-hmm. Burning daylight.
Burning daylight. That's right.
Right.
We're burning daylight all day, every day.
Pretty much. Basically wasting time.
Oh,
yes.
Steve says, you've reminded me I can share a hot mentor tip. Share away, Steve. We're looking to hear it. Oh, here he comes.
Hey.
Hey,
Hi.
Steve.
Hello, how are you both today?
Hey, by the way, I was going to ask you this morning, and I didn't until just now. What's the timer on your Manicam or whatever that you got going on there for? 16 minutes? Are you going to explode?
Basically, that's how long I've got left to live. No, that's how long my render's going on for, and therefore how much free time I have. But in fact, I'm actually working right now, so I have no free time. But I'm listening, and I did just want to give you something that fitted in with what you were saying. And thank you for reminding me, Christy, that mentors are very important. When I was younger, I had mentors, and through busyness, I've let that hot tip slip.
Oh.
So I should be looking to rectify that. At the moment, I'm still one-track minded. However, if you find yourself in the same position, I'm far too light, by the way. It's vanity is getting the better of me again.
Are you in the bathroom or what?
No, it's because I work with, see the thing on my forehead there? That's the three lights that shine down. And it's very bad for webcams because it takes the contrast out of it.
Yeah, it blanches you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, getting completely off topic. Sorry about that. So this is what I'm doing as a kind of mentor-ish, very quick, no effort. Well, no, it's effort, but it's not long effort way of doing it. Here we go. Get yourself a subscription to Kindle Unlimited. It's free for a month. After that, it's £8 in UK currency. Don't know how that works out in dollars. You guys probably get it a lot cheaper than we do. Everything's more expensive here. Anyway, and then track down to the business section books, and you'd be amazed. About 60% of them are free whilst you've got that subscription.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I'm going to pay the $8 a month or whatever it is, just month in, month out. And most of my books are free. You get to download 10 at a time. You can borrowing them. Okay. But nobody's saying you can't digest that information and keep the best information for yourself, whether you write that down or whatever. You get 30 days free, so you could slip away again after 30 days, having learned a ton for nothing. Mm-hmm. And Christy, you were saying that's what prompted me. You got voices inside your head. Well, once I read, this is God's honest truth, I read 10 Twitter books in a day and a half. What?
Yeah, 10 Twitter books in a day and a half. They're not very big, so it's not quite as impressive as it there's not too much you can say about Twitter, really, without doing it for yourself. But I read 10, and then I formulated part of a strategy, and then I read another 10 over, say, perhaps 3 or 4 days, slightly more easy. And by the end of that, you're talking about mentors' voices, I have got the best of the best, in my opinion, ideas floating around my head, and I form my own ideas from that. So thank you. That's my little burst there. And
so awesome. Do you build yourself some vision boards and tip boards, and do you hang ideas everywhere? And
if I had time, if I had time.
Well, you just read 20 books. How did you stay focused on anything you read in that book, on all those books?
Well, I don't know about you, good ladies, but I think that most of the things you read, given our ages, approximately, I know we probably span a bit between us. I don't know. I don't want to go down that route. Sorry, but we've lived a bit. Yeah, we're not spring chickens. We're not getting.
We've lived a bit.
Yeah, we're not going to get conned so easy. So half of these books, they're telling you what you already know, and you go, oh, yeah, okay. And then every so often you'll read something in a book, and you go, hello.
Yes,
And it's that.
I had an this morning with Tony Nelson. I got to tell you. That little thing about writing up some tips about what's happening at the event, to hand out to people. I thought that was a very, very unique idea.
That's good.
I'll share that with you in a minute, Christy. But go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
Yeah, please do put that in this blab. That was useful. I wrote a lot down from her, you see. It didn't take too long to assimilate that. I've completely lost my point. Was it a good one? Were we enjoying ourselves?
Well, you shut off your timer, so I know you're going to live another 30 minutes anyway.
Yeah. I'll probably go back to listening, Bo. But if I'm hearing you, so if you want to chat afterwards. But anyway,
so Steve, we were actually talking about your associations.
Yes.
Was the original topic of this. So how do you feel about that? Do you pick and choose your associations based on how it might look for you, or do you just do that out of how it feels for you?
No, feelings must be suppressed unless perhaps the feminine intuition. Sorry, I'm tired. That's why I'm getting my words mixed up. That's perhaps stronger than the male one. So you've got to go with that. But no, trouble with feelings is they can take you off in a direction that potentially could take you off plan. I think the aha moments. And then they call it pivoting. Don't you see? I'm learning the language now. They call it pivoting. But you have to be honest with yourself, don't you? You have to say, is this working? Is this not working? But to try and summarize this and not go off on a tangent, I do think that you have to search a lot. It's the old 1% rule. You have to search a lot. And now and again, you get something you think, yeah, I can act upon that. But to the voices inside your heads that you're reading from, or in your case, Christy, you were reading from in Napoleon Hill. That's a book, yeah? Was it something about getting rich or something? What's his book?
Think and Grow Rich.
That's it. Think and Grow Rich. So
she's got like 1 million books right there at her fingertips.
Is she?
Read this one.
Well, that's exactly what we're saying. That's the book. So you've got his voice inside your head, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and that's one of those books you've got to read again and again, isn't it? So, yeah. So
it's a very meaty book.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the secret, if there is one, is most of it is tosh, but not in his book, but what you read, but you've got to skim through it and then go, hang on, this is a concept here. Now, does that apply to me? Yes, it does. Great. So I've learned something, and I can throw away the other 99 things because I know them or they're no good to me. That's how I'm progressing. I hope that is of use to you and your viewers.
Mm-hmm. At least you are progressing. Not everybody will at least look for that 1%. They'll give up. Like they won't take it in. Now, some people can't sit and read as many books as I can and assimilate that information from a written word. There's a good portion of people out there who don't have a library of books, but they are going to be able to learn from a YouTube video, which is also nice for the Napoleon Hill. If you want to know this, he has they have his live interview on YouTube with this book.
That'd be
which is
interesting.
amazing. So I literally have an image of him and his voice in my head whenever I go to him. I can hear his voice because of, at that point, it was modern technology. So now our modern technology is they've been able to take that and put it on YouTube, which is great for me.
Well, that was a valuable point that Steve made that I hadn't really considered also, is that you said, Steve, you can hear his voice in your head. And that is, so for me, I love to read. I don't have time to read. So typically, if I buy a book, I buy it in audio format so that I can use it in my car. I could put it on my MP3 player. And so it's so funny that you said that, because that's typically the way I hear it, is I hear their voice. Although in most cases, it's not really their voice.
No.
But in my mind, I have a voice that I associate with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
that's right. Well, would you say then audiobooks for traveling, and then I do genuinely think Kindle for fast information digestion, because you've got this wonderful finger and you just slide it across. You know, and as I say, a lot of these business books, tosh. Oh, nah, tosh. Ah, you know.
maybe we should start a business book club and get our list together. But I mean, my God, there's so many books. I'd still be trying to read them when I was 95 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you don't read them. That's my point. You skim read, and you can tell whether somebody's BSing, if you like. Just saying what everyone says because they've got to say it because it's a book about blah, because they've got to cover the basics. And when they're actually prepared to get down and tell you something that is useful outside of the box, that's the moments I look for.
Yes, that is very interesting.
I would love to continue. I'm really sorry. I need to get back to it. But
all right, Steve, go back to work. Turn off the timer. I want you to live till the next time I see you. I was afraid you were going to tell me that I was going to spontaneously combust. Most days. Go ahead, Christy.
I was going to say, so one of the things, because he's right, Steve's right. There's a lot of business books out there that is regurgitated information in a different voice. I'm perfectly aware of that as I'm writing my own book, is to make sure that I provide gold nuggets that aren't really out there. And I can do it in such a way, it's my voice, that people are going to be gravitated to how I say stuff and that kind of, so as a writer. But I do want to share one book with you. These guys are worth the time to actually have the book in my hand and make notes. And with both of the books that I've read so far, I read a little section, and once I get to that aha, I stop because it's such a big aha. I let it sink in and I go apply it. And these are the first guys I have done that with in quite some time.
And who's that?
Chip Heath and Dan Heath, brothers. Yeah. Made to Stick and Switch are the two books that I've read so far. And these books will take a while for me to read because, again, I'll sit and I'll read not even a chapter. I may read 2 pages one day and go, son of a gun, that's some good stuff right there. And the just different ideas that they have. And I mark up these books. Like I will write. I
can see that in your books. I see that you mark up your books.
I do.
Steve asks, can you give us an example of an aha? What's an aha for you?
Let's see. Okay, so concrete allows coordination. So it's a concept of we're taking manufacturing. So we need to get everybody on the same page, and it needs to be a concrete idea. So it has to be because the made to stick is a concept about why some ideas survive and others die. So Boeing airplane was a matter of they had to get everybody on the same page to be able to manufacture and produce the way they wanted. When Boeing prepared to launch the design of the 727 passenger plane in the 1960s, its managers set a goal that was deliberately concrete. The goal was concrete. The 727 must seat 131 passengers, fly nonstop from Miami to New York City, and land on runway 422 at LaGuardia. The 422 runway was chosen for its length, less than a mile, which was much too short for any of the existing passenger jets. With a goal this concrete, Boeing effectively coordinated the actions of thousands of experts in various aspects of engineering or manufacturing. Imagine how much harder it would have been to build a 727 whose goal was to be the best passenger plane in the world.
Oh, yes.
So it took it from not just being the best passenger plane in the world to very concrete, exact goals. And I was like, okay, my goals are not near exact enough. So I took that and just sat on it for a while, because it was amazing to see the difference. And they talk about, some Disney stuff is in here, and they have a lot of case studies, a lot of great examples. So there's a lot of good meat of real life examples, not just what could happen and things like that. One of my funny ones was the "Where's the Beef" commercial and how that broke. So anyway, I don't want to get lost in the book because that'll totally distract me. Because there's a lot of really good stuff in there that I've been able to take and apply. One of the concepts that we took and used a lot in the business whenever we were facilitating groups and getting them to understand is that think about the worst movie you've ever seen. Why did you stick through the whole daggone movie?
Well, even if it was the worst movie I ever saw, there must have been some interesting pieces in it, right?
That, and plus you just had to know how it ended, right?
Oh,
there's
true. Just had to know how
it ended. Exactly. They do stuff because that creates a knowledge gap. So now we have this curiosity that we got to know. And so that's what news, think about your local news. Whenever they say coming up, the coffee you drink in the morning may be killing you.
Well, it is actually, but
everything. Right now, the air is killing me.
Everything is killing us. That's for sure.
Everything is killing me. So, but then what you do is that whenever you're watching the news, they don't actually give you that story, the very next story. They don't give it to you right away. You have to watch 3 or 4 different other things before you get to the story that they promised you, right? So that's a knowledge gap. It's done on purpose to get you to stick with it. And so how can we apply that knowledge gap to something that we do on a day-to-day basis? So this is why bringing this curiosity aspect of starting the conversation with a question instead of here's what I do.
So that kind of keeps people moving off to that
ding 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 ding.
Waiting for that answer. Ding 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 ding. There you go.
So that's how we applied it. I took it from that book and we then applied it to a conversation. So even though the concept is over here with movies and news media and things like that, it could still be used in a day-to-day conversation. So this is how I love the fact that if we go into life, into every situation as a student that is still curious and wants to learn more, there's always things to learn. And then how can we apply that over here? So don't just take it in, but then always ask, is this something that I can apply to make me better in certain situations?
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. I just want one more thing that I want to ask you about, though. You said one of the things we were talking about is who we associate with and how it affects us.
Yes.
Let's talk about how those things affect us, our associations or our virtual mentors, our virtual board, our live board. How do those things affect us?
So let's talk about the we forget to learn is topping up our memory with the important stuff is a good plan. Yes. That putting it, what is it? Garbage in, garbage out. Same thing for good stuff. Good stuff in, good stuff out. It really is. We underestimate the power of our own thoughts. And we underestimate the power of what we're seeing, what we're thinking about, how it's affecting us. So now let's take this over to the people that we're associating with. We are underestimating the power that association has on our thought life, which affects our character and behavior. It affects our choices. Because if we continue to, I'll talk about my family for a little bit. I've got one side of the family who just won't let shit go.
There's that shit word again.
Right.
Where was that book cover? Show that book cover again. Where's that book cover?
Yeah.
Screw it. Let's do it. Okay, go ahead, Christy.
So I have a side of the family who just does not let stuff go. They're bitter. There's that root of bitterness. There's hatred. There's the grudges held for generations, the whole 9 yards. I've lived some life long ago. I decided that's not what I wanted to be. And so I have somewhat disassociated myself from them. But what I've also done is I don't want to be the person that completely shuns family. So the person that I want to be, it says, okay, then there's got to be some boundaries to this. I give them a time frame. I'm good for 2 hours before I know I'm affected by the negativity. Because then what affects me is if I go past that 2 hour mark, then the conversation changes. Like the first couple of hours in conversation, it stays pretty positive. We could talk about the great things, cool new recipes, whatever. Then when the conversation starts to shift over here to talking about all the crazy stuff that's happened in the past. So now we're digging up the past. Everything is negative, so on and so forth. Once I go past that time frame, every minute counts. And I need to get out of there because it will drain my energy big time, very quickly. And I know that. That's why I know I have a time frame. It's not to be hateful. It's that I want to be a certain person. I still want to be engaged with family. I want to make sure it's still important to them and I want them to see that they're a valuable person. But I have a time limit because after that time limit, and I tell you what, there's been times I've spent 5 hours with that family and I've gone home and I'm worthless for the rest of the day because I'm trying to regroup an energy level. I don't walk away excited. I walk away going, oh my God, I don't want to do that for months ever again. So yeah, that's a family.
So what you're saying is some of those associations can actually just drag you down.
Yes. And that's the ones that you know about. So if we take this into a business setting and we've got somebody who, I've got somebody in one of my groups that I'm leading right now who is kind of in the same industry, he does it totally different, and he's right about everything. And he's the only one that knows stuff. Nobody else knows anything. He's the expert. Like,
alrighty then.
Right. Exactly. Like, okay, I just know ahead of time not to share anything with you because it's going to fall on deaf ears. I'm going to be wrong. And I'm not going to enter into that kind of yeah, it's a real fun.
And really, you don't feel like getting beat up like that all the time.
No. But some people, if you've not practiced your own self-awareness and self-definition enough to be able to be strong in your presentation and implementation of that, other people are going to affect you. And you may take that in, not being well practiced in yourself to be strong enough to say, yeah, you're just blowing smoke and walk away from it. It's harder to just let it go than not. This is why I'm really strong in self-awareness, self-definition, building your presentation, and then how to implement it. So what we talk about here about networking aspects of things is the implementation of all of this back end depth of a person. So, we're just scratching the surface in the conversation about networking.
Yep, so true. We've got we've got a couple more people that have joined us. Hi, you guys. Actually, we're down to our last 3 minutes. We're going to wrap this up. Miss Hillary Steele, welcome. Editor of Kent Women in Business Magazine. Some more business roles around marketing and communication. Trainer and one half of Ducky Phoenix. If you've got a minute, you can feel free to just hop into a hot seat and say hello. We would love to connect with you. As always, Steve, we had a great time with you. And I know that Steve's got this project he's been on for so long. And I'm sure that it's hard to stay focused because so many of us are always dragging him into networking events. And, he was on networking this morning and now here he is with us. Hey, Hillary, nice to meet you. Hello. How are you?
Very well. Thank you. How are you, ladies?
Wonderful. We're just getting ready to wrap up. We were actually talking about networking the No Rules Way. Christy Smallwood is the author of the book.
Fabulous.
And our topic today was about some of our associations and how they affect us. So, and it looks to me like you are into some networking, marketing, communication.
Yeah.
So would you like to kind of just add a little bit to that before we wrap up?
Okay, I am owner of a number of small businesses, and each one has been built through the power of networking. I am also involved in something called the Institute of Directors here in the UK, which is very grown-up networking. So the old British, if you can imagine the old British pomp and ceremony, it's full of that, and it's fantastic because it's a different style of networking that opens different doors. So I tend to embrace every business role or function I'm fulfilling at the time with a childlike enthusiasm, which means for a child, there are no rules, and it's diving in there and exploring and reacting to the information you're provided at the time.
Wow, childlike enthusiasm. That's
me.
That's a freaking amazing aha moment right there. Childlike enthusiasm.
I can tell I'm going to like you already, Hillary.
So, Hillary, we would really like to invite you. Look, first of all, let me wrap up. I'm going to turn off our recording. Well, no, I'll leave it on the recording. Hillary, Christy runs a virtual networking group every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. It is live online. It's Zoom. We use as the platform where multiple people, we have video and audio just like this, but we can have up to 50 people in the room. Not that we ever have that many. And it is a networking event where we start with a small presentation and we move into introductions and contact information exchange with everybody in the room. So I think we would very much like to invite you tonight to meet Christy and Charlene Burke, who also runs a networking group.
I know Charlene.
Do you know Charlene?
Yes.
Have you had a chance to ever get into a networking event with Charlene besides Blab?
No, we've been on lots of Blabs together.
So yeah, let me give you, well, if you've got, I'm trying to figure out how the best way to connect you is, because we would certainly love to have you come tonight.
What time is that? 8 p.m.
Eastern time.
Eastern time. There's the link to register to get the links, or I will simply give you my email address and hit me up with an email and I will send you the links.
That's late for the UK. Yes, Steve, should I be in bed at that time?
I don't know. Should you be in bed at that time? How
Probably.
late is it?
Yeah, I was just thinking probably. I get up very, very early in the morning. I'm a 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God!
Person who jumps up and goes, "Yay, let's play!" I'm going to take your
Oh, I guess it is late for the UK. Aren't you guys like 4 hours later than us?
Well, it's 4 o'clock here now.
And I spelt virtually wrong. I hope you caught that. That's 2
cool.
L's, not one.
Network live virtually.
Steve says there is a 2 p.m. UK time with Charlene on Wednesday. Yeah, that was this morning's. She had big turnout for that. That was awesome this morning. But Hillary, I would love to connect with you and chat with you about being on one of our groups maybe and doing a presentation of some kind. So
Fabulous.
Please send me an email, Sabrina@networklivevirtually.com. Send me an email. So
I will do that today.
All right. I'm going to wrap up, gang, just so we can stop the recording. Thanks, everybody, for being here. This was Networking the No Rules Way with author Christy Smallwood. I am your host, Sabrina Watson, founder of NetworkLiveVirtually.com, where we help you network live virtually with the world. And you can also find author Christy Smallwood at NetworkLiveVirtually.com every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern is her networking meetings. And thanks for joining us, Hillary. Thanks for joining us, Steve, and everybody else. Have a great day, and we will see you next Wednesday, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Bye.